Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, Gwe. The other day, I did a video about possibilities, about how sometimes our brain can create for ourselves a set of limiting beliefs that will keep us from striving and keep us from trying and keep us from achieving things simply because we don't think we can. As I was putting that video together, other thoughts jumped into my head, as is quite honestly typical. One video leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to Ed's brain starting to hurt. One of the comments that I receive sometimes, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's in an email or through other mediums of communication, sometimes I'll hear something along these lines. It's wonderful that you're trying, but you're never going to make a difference. It's already too late. You're never going to change people. You're never going to change people's attitudes. You're never going to change people's minds. You're certainly never going to change the church. Sometimes it's along the lines of, what you're doing is too little. It's too little, it's too late, nobody wants to hear it. With that in mind, and I don't know, maybe it was providence. A friend of mine posted on Facebook, another Anglican minister actually, she posted on Facebook, you cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. The meme, the quote, these words come from famed anthropologist Jane Goodall. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference. And you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Everything we do, every word, every action, every silence, every inaction has an impact on the people around us. If we choose to get up this morning and have a positive or attempt to have a positive impact on the world, we will. Maybe in a great big way, maybe in an itty bitty way, but we will. If we choose this morning to say, no, I'm just not going to say a word and I'm not going to do a thing, that too has an impact on the world. We have to always be mindful that just by our sheer presence in this world, we're making a difference. In some fashion, in some direction, we are making a difference. Now, when I hear somebody tell me, it's not going to matter, it's too little, it's too late. Yeah, I love you, but this is misguided. You're not going to achieve what you think you're going to achieve, what you hope to achieve. Personally, I can't imagine living my life in any kind of meaningful way if I didn't try. We have to try. Yeah, there's a lot of things broken. For me, with the Church Universal, there are a lot of things broken. There are a lot of things broken within the Anglican Church of Canada, within my own diocese. There's a lot of things that need our attention, that deserve our attention. There are a lot of people in this world who need our help, who deserve our help, who are worthy of our help. There's a lot all around us, and perhaps because of media, we actually have a front row seat to be able to see everything that needs attention, everything that needs us to be involved, everything that needs our love, our time and our energy and our touch. There are so many challenges, there are so many problems, there are so many issues These are all opportunities. And that isn't to say that the work we do is going to have an immediate, eternal, everlasting, and universal impact. That we are going to change everything for good with the snap of a finger, or because we get up one day and we choose to do something. We, as I think I've said before, we may never see the fruits of our labor. But nobody will experience the fruits of our labor if we don't try something. Our children can't eat the fruit off an apple tree if we don't plant the seed, if we don't tend the soil, if we don't nurture the tree as it grows. It requires us right here and now to offer ourselves to be a positive impact, a positive influence on the world. It requires us right here and now to offer ourselves in some fashion. If we expect the world to change, if we expect the world to change for the better, if we're looking for justice, we got to start now. If we're looking for an end to things like poverty and homelessness, we, in some fashion, even though it may seem absolutely unfruitful, we need to begin now. If we want equality, if we want equity, if we want people to be able to experience liberation from whatever it is that they are enslaved by, we must begin that work now. We must choose how we will be a positive impact on the world now. Again, we might never see this work of ours come to fruition. But nobody will if we don't try. Nobody will if we don't put in the effort right now. We might never see the fruits of this work. But that's okay. Jesus never saw the fruits of his work. The disciples never saw the fruits of their work. They still stood up. They still stood forward. They still carried the message of the gospel out into the world. They still chose to teach people to love. Even though we may not see an end, even though we may not see the results we hope for, the results we desire, maybe even the results we expect. Giving up, for me anyway, it isn't an option. It's not an option. If we want to see transformation, if we want to see transformation on a grand scale, perhaps accepting the fact that our role might just be the role of the ones who get things started. Get things started. Think about an avalanche. Or perhaps our role isn't the role of a great big boulder that crashes down the mountain. Maybe our role is the role of those tiny little pebbles that move the slightly larger pebble, which moves the slightly larger pebbles, which moves the slightly larger pebbles, which moves the giant boulder, the giant boulders to go crashing down the side of the mountain, which leads to the transformation of the landscape. If that indeed is our role, it's enough. If that indeed is our role here and now, then it doesn't matter what naysayers say. It doesn't matter how realistic our dreams are. All that matters is we allow ourselves to do what we can right here, right now. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that you will absorb that message from Dame Jane Goodall. Every single one of us, every single moment of our lives, impact the world around us. We get to choose what kind of impact we will have. I pray each of us will choose to always have a positive impact. That we will always choose to have a life-giving impact for all those people around us, for our communities and for the world. Amen. Nemultus.